Futurecast.
Good morning, everybody. That blizzard warning, which was initially in effect for our Massachusetts viewers only, is now in effect for the south coast of Rhode Island as well. And that's really more because of the wind than the snowfall amounts that we're expecting. The snowfall amounts will be impressive, but we will not see nearly as much as we saw from the blizzard of 2015 several weeks ago. We'll talk more about those accumulation amounts coming up in just a few minutes. On live Pinpoint Doppler 12, not picking up snow for now, but as we go into Futurecast mode, notice what happens this afternoon. Some light snow gets going. At this point, the roads are still passable. Just use some caution. Notice what happens by 7 p.m. You can see the blue starts to fill in, and I wouldn't be surprised with this initial thump of snow if we already have an inch or two of snow on the ground by 7 p.m. As we go deeper into the evening, there may be some lulls, but the snow will be coming down heavy at times, especially after midnight. You can see the blue filling back in. And then notice what happens as we go into 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Notice how the blues get really dark here, especially from Providence into New Bedford, Cumberland. We could see some pretty heavy snowfall rates here, in addition to some very strong wind. Not quite as frequent with the heavy snow bursts in places like Westerly, but you still do get some snow from the system. And then as we head through around 1 or 2 p.m., you can see the snow starts to pull away, maybe some lingering bands of snow for New Bedford. Cape Cod and Boston, you could keep on snowing until deeper into the afternoon. Of course, in Boston, that's exactly where you do not need that additional snow. Again, we'll put up those accumulation amounts in just a second. A nice looking sunrise in the capital city, but it feels brutally cold. Providence at 1, Gloucester -6, Westerly -7, New Bedford -6. These are not wind chills. These are actual temperatures right now. Some of those wind chills in the negative teens right now. And you can see this chunk of energy coming out ahead of this storm. This really is not in its true form just yet. Once it hits the coast, it kind of winds up and sends those winds back in from the north, and then we get those really heavy snowfall rates being produced. So you can see what happens with our winds. Not terribly impressive today. By 8 p.m. tonight, notice we're gusting at around 20 miles an hour. However, overnight through tomorrow morning, those gusts crank up to 30 to 40 miles an hour. And then from the late morning to tomorrow afternoon, notice we have gusts between 40 and 50 inland at the coast in places like New Bedford, Little Compton, New Bedford, between 50 and 60. We could get some gusts between 60 and 70 out across Cape Cod. This is a very powerful storm in terms of the wind speeds. And in terms of power outages, you know, I think the good thing is the snow will be light and fluffy, so that may spare us from widespread outages. But when we get winds that strong, especially out here towards the coast, we're going to have to watch that situation carefully. If we do get the outages, I think it would be here across the south coast of Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and especially out towards Cape Cod. I think power outages a certainty out towards Cape Cod and eastern Massachusetts, where unfortunately they're going to also get some coastal flooding. 6 to 10 inches for us from the storm. For most of our viewing area, I should say 10 to 15 for New Bedford. Even in the Cumberland, I wouldn't be surprised to see some 10+ amounts, and then 3 to 6 for the southwestern corner of the state, including Westerly. Now again, it's going to be a dry and fluffy snow, so a bit easier to remove than the past couple of storms. By 7 p.m., a dusting to around 2 inches of snow on the ground, 1 to 3 by 11 p.m. And then notice the bulk of accumulation will be done during the early morning hours of tomorrow through the late morning. You can see 4 to 7 by around 9 a.m., 6 to 9 by noontime for Providence. You can see same deal in New Bedford in terms of picking up most of the accumulation tomorrow morning, with higher amounts, 10 to 15 there for New Bedford. 7-day Futurecast shows brutally cold temperatures behind the snow, down to -2 late tomorrow night into Monday morning, with wind chills in the negative teens. You can always go to WPRI.com for an updated weather blog and weather discussion.
Now, Eyewitness Sports with Mark Dondero.
There may not be a better time of year than now to get all dressed up for that special someone, go out to dinner, and show that person how